The Great Wall of China was said to be built to keep out Gog and Magog, who were the two giants. So, we have this concept, and all of the Indians talked about this ruling priesthood class that were a different race than them. They had red or blonde hair, they had blue eyes and white skin, and this priesthood of the serpent, the priesthood of the feathered serpent, as they would call them, they were a ruling class. And the Indians, over time, they would rise up and they would try to overtake and overthrow these people. But this is a consistent point that we see. We see it in China, and actually, I think it's probably beyond the purview of our broadcast tonight. But in connection with these round Celtic broach houses, I think that there was definitely a fortification concept there that was going on there.
Absolutely. And then, just kind of add to that, the fortification that's close to me in my area, it is, there's a big sign. It says, it literally talks about the Hopewell Indians traditions and talk about prehistoric, and it says this way. It literally has a sign, but that whole fortification, I have documentation on it where I've talked about this on many broadcasts, but it kind of gets a little graphic. I'm not going to go it's PG here. When I found out that fortification, there was Indians that went against these prehistoric inhabitants, and there was I think it was a 53-foot slope that they built. So what they do, they would gather all of the Indians to this one area. So the prehistoric man would be up there with the higher elevation military vantage point, and would javel them or arrows, etc. And then literally they would all migrate and hoard them up in this 53-foot slope and slide down and hit the wall, and was able to gather them up. And literally, no joke, they would take lime, phosphorus, and a couple other stuff from the earth, and they would literally grind the bones up and plaster it to refortify it, David, to keep refortification. And then, miraculously, by God's grace, they finally was able to defeat this adversaries, and they went there for cataclysms, for bad hard winters, floods, etc. Right? So it's amazing, David. Mm-hmm.
It absolutely is.
This next slide. So we're still in Clay County, Kentucky. This is how the petroglyph was found. This one, you just can't make this stuff up. This is in Manchester, Kentucky, in Clay County. When I come across this place, I was baffled by the information on it. But we're going to get into it. I'm going to slide in here and zoom in here. This lovely place, I have to believe what is written down here, and I'm not going to discredit it, but here we go. This is the famous red bird petroglyph, known since pioneer days and enrolled on the National Register of Historical Sites. On December the 7th, 1994, the historical stone fell from a sandstone cliff, which there's abundance of sandstone around this area. I just want to make that point there. And rolled on to Highway 66. So, David, if you want to chime in there, Highway 66.
This is truly astounding. This thing falls from the side of a rock cliff right onto the road. It is just absolutely phenomenal. And I'll let you go ahead and talk about what was on this stone.
Sure. like I say, you just can't make it up. And it happened to be December the 7th, 1994. And we're going to get into it. This is a very interesting topic. So on the lower Redbird on December the 9th, 1994, it was transported here and set up in its home. It had 8 old world alphabets are engraved on it, okay? These alphabets were extinct when Columbus arrived in the New World in 1492. This is what gets me a little upset, because when you look at the military applications and, Squire Boone, I'm not putting anything down that they put out in their documentation, but it's baffling me that they have to always put in something to do with Columbus or whatever. And they'll literally tell you here in a second they're telling you exactly. You can go here. As far as I remember, this park was open 24 hours daily. I couldn't believe it. It was as of 2022 or 2021. I don't know now, but yeah. So the alphabets are 1st century Greek and Hebrew, and Old Libyan, Old Arabic, and let's see. And I'm lost my place there.
The Iberian.
Oh, Punic. Iberian Punic, which probably dates from the 9th century BC, Ogham, Germanic ruins, and Tevnifican Nubian are also on this stone. Of all the hundreds of important translatable and published inscriptions in the U.S., this is the first one to have been given official protection. Clay City and the city of Manchester have granted protection to this stone. In doing so, they have obtained a good name and public esteem worldwide. What do you think about that, David?
Well, this is not maybe so proof. This is absolute proof that before Columbus, there were people that came to America, and they have come here from, thousands and thousands of years before Columbus. And these languages, there's no way you can make this up, where there are 8 languages that were extinct when Columbus came to America. And here they are on this huge stone right here, not very far from where we are right now. And this thing just fell off the side of a cliff down onto the highway there in 1994. I think maybe the father wants to reveal some of this stuff. And there it is. And this should absolutely shake to the foundations everything that's being taught in history classes in high school, college, wherever. It's irrefutable proof that what we're saying this evening is true. It's absolutely true.
Yeah, and what's really cool, as far as, I couldn't believe how they, at first, whenever the stone was there in 1994, it was just I think it was on a slab or however they had it set up. But I'm going to show another slide here. They finally put like an awning over it. It's just wood, but I think they they used to have people be able to come up and touch it, but now they've had to pull everybody back, and they've put a perimeter around it. It's a barrier. They won't let you touch it. And it makes you wonder, why would you, all those years went by, and that wasn't that long ago when they put the barrier around it. I just thought that was so interesting. So if you want to look it up, everybody, all the viewers here, if you want to look it up, it's called the Stone of Witness, a red bird petroglyph, Kentucky State. It's Kentucky City Park, Manchester, Kentucky.
Yeah, you can go right down there and look at it. And that Ogham language, and there's a lot of inscriptions of what they call the ancient Ogham. And Og, the king of Bashan, this is right there from the foot of Mount Hermon. And it would make sense, if you have people, what happened at the Tower of Babel, as we all know, the languages were confused to where they could not communicate with each other. Now, it might make sense that these people will say, well, boy, let's get all of our languages written down together on this stone so that if anything would happen again, we can communicate and understand one another. It would make a lot of sense why people that had undergone the judgment at Babel, that they might be concerned with doing something like that. But this is undeniable, in your face proof. This is still there. You can go look at it. And it's just absolutely phenomenal. And we don't realize the huge impact of the things that we have just right here that are just absolute confirmation that we do indeed have Atlantis right here in America, and these ancient signatures of this ancient antediluvian civilization.